Picture a utility ordering a transformer and building a substation for a large AI data center. Then the campus is delayed, downsized, or canceled. The hardware does not disappear, and the financing clock does not stop. On June 18, 2026, FERC told all 6 regional grid operators under its jurisdiction to justify or reform their large load tariffs. They received 60 days. The headline is not only how much electricity AI uses, it is who signs for the grid when the project does not arrive as planned. The demand case is real, but it is a range, not a single prophecy. Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory's June 2026 update estimates a reference case of 649 terawatt-hours for U.S. data centers in 2030, equal to 11.8% of national electricity use. Its sensitivity range is 9.5 to 15.3%. EIA also describes data center server load as essentially flat across the day. Those figures explain why utilities plan big. They do not decide which household pays for one local substation. Utility accounting turns steel into a monthly bill. Regulators allow prudent generation, transmission, and distribution investments to be recovered over time. A large customer can spread fixed costs if it arrives, ramps on schedule, and keeps paying. The same project can strand capacity if its forecast was speculative or its contract is weak. Network upgrades may be ordered before the servers reach full load. That timing gap is the risk. A low wholesale energy price cannot answer it, because the bill also carries capacity, wires, project facilities, reserves, and financing. In the New York order, FERC made a preliminary finding that a cost recovery agreement appears necessary when transmission service is requested for a large load. The agreement would require a minimum contribution if the customer ultimately takes less service, because the project does not materialize as planned, and it would include financial security. The stated goal is to keep large load-driven transmission costs from customers who neither cause the need nor receive matching benefits. This is a proceeding and a preliminary finding, not a final nationwide retail tariff. That boundary matters. At the retail level, states hold a different piece of the rulebook. 5 tools appear repeatedly: a construction deposit, a minimum monthly bill, a long contract term, collateral, and an exit charge. A deposit funds early work. A minimum bill protects revenue during a slow ramp. A contract term matches recovery to the asset life. Collateral protects against default. An exit charge assigns abandonment risk. None is magic. The percentages, refund conditions, asset resale, and treatment of shared benefits decide whether protection is real. Virginia provides a concrete example. Its State Corporation Commission created a separate GS5 class for customers at or above 25 megawatts, effective January 1, 2027. The Commission's February 2026 fact sheet says covered large load customers can face a 14-year minimum contract. It also says they must pay at least 85% of transmission and distribution costs each month, even when actual use is lower, with collateral requirements for some new customers. That is one state's design, not a universal template, but it shows what pay your own way looks like when translated into enforceable terms. Dedicated equipment is the easy case. If one campus alone needs a substation, direct assignment is intuitive. Shared network upgrades are harder. A new line may later improve reliability, relieve congestion, or serve other customers. Or a project labeled shared may still exist mainly because one enormous load arrived. Fair allocation therefore needs both causation and measured benefits. The engineering drawing tells us where the electrons travel. It does not tell us who owns the downside. That is why the tariff, cost study, and regulatory order must be read together. Cost protection does not have to mean building everything the slowest way. FERC June orders ask grid operators to consider alternative transmission technologies and new services for flexible large loads. A data center that can limit withdrawals at stressed hours may reduce some upgrade or capacity needs, but flexibility must be measurable, dispatchable, and written into the service terms. A press release promising flexibility is not the same as an obligation. The economic question is how many firm megawatts the grid must build for, and what happens when the customer uses less or asks for more. Use 5 questions before believing a power bill claim. Which facilities are dedicated and which are shared? Is the demand request unique, phased, or duplicated across locations? What deposit, minimum payment, contract term, collateral, and exit protection applies? Who pays if the load is smaller or later than forecast? And how are wider grid benefits measured and credited? Then check the exact tariff and order. A national demand forecast can explain urgency. It cannot answer a local cost allocation question by itself. AI data centers can support new generation, stronger wires, construction, and tax revenue. Their scale also makes forecast errors expensive. The practical rule is simple. Project risk should follow the project unless transparent evidence shows a shared benefit. Making that rule real requires readiness milestones, cost recovery agreements, customer security, public cost data, and regulatory review. Follow the substation invoice, not only the server wattage. Ask who caused the investment, who receives the benefit, who guaranteed the payments, and who is left paying if the campus changes. That is where the public bill is decided.